If you're like me, space is at a premium in your place, but you still want to set up for a cool, enjoyable experience on game night. Hey there, adventurers. Welcome back to another episode of Short Rest Studios. My name is Judd, and this week we're going to talk about how I set up for my D&D game night. I like to have something that's cool, a great experience for my players and for myself, and it gives us room to play our game and have snacks and drinks and all our assorted paraphernalia for the game. So there are two key elements to that setup, and those are my StageTop game table and my Valhalla GM Screen from Dogmight Games. Let's get to the tour. StageTop is a modular 3D printed gaming table that's meant to go on top of an existing table. You begin by assembling these frames, and I have 24 of these, which works out to about a 2.5 by 4 foot table, which is pretty large, so it actually takes me a little while, about 40 minutes to put it together. You connect these frames using frame locks, which is what you see me doing now. And you notice there are some small black clips that are in those frames. You can take those out. There's like 100 of them, so I didn't want to take them out every time, so I just leave them in. So it does take me a while to do this part of the assembly, but once it's done, we can begin adding some other parts. And now we're going to add the rails, which you connect to the frames using the same frame locks that you put the frames together with. And here's a rail with a card holder top, and then there's a rail with a blank top, and then finally a rail with a component top that you put dice or other game components in. And one of the nice things about these rails is the tops are printed with TPU, which is a flexible plastic. It's almost like rubber or silicone. So, people can rest their hands on them or whatever, and it's, not hard plastic poking into their arms. But essentially, I try to evenly distribute the weight of all those frames as I'm adding these rails so that nothing bends too far and, breaks something. And one of the things I try to do is position those component top and card holder top rails so that every player has one directly in front of them. And because I'm just this way, I try to make sure that they're in the same position for every player. And now we're adding the legs, and these legs are great. They're super easy. You just screw them into the central hole in each frame. And I printed the feet with TPU, so they're not going to scratch the table or anything like that. But there's a leg for each frame. And what this means is that there are 24 legs for my 24 frames, but it also means that this table has pretty incredible weight capacity. My, how the turntables. And now we move on to the play tiles, which provide your gaming surface. And you can see these are a little messed up because this was a test print, but you can print these with a lot of different surfaces, with or without a grid, a wood grain pattern, lots of things. Now we add the rail clips, which provide some decoration and stability, and we add component cups to the surface. And now dice towers. One of the things you didn't see is that there are component tiles that have openings for different things, including dice towers and component cups. So you're able to just drop that dice tower through the surface of the table, attach it to its tray, and you have a dice tower in the surface, and your dice come out underneath the table. It's pretty cool. And I printed a lot of different ones. There are several themes for this table and for the dice towers, and I printed an elite table, but I printed several of the themed dice towers because I thought they were fun. And that has a big D20. And here's the completed table. It looks really nice, gives you some extra space. It's really functional. I really like the StageTop table. Full disclosure, I do sell it on my Etsy shop, and I am going to put a link in the description. However, that's not why I'm showing it to you this week. I just want you to see how I use it because I think it's cool. With all the activity going on, Baxter was like, pay attention to me. I'm going to add my battle mat, and then we'll move on to the Valhalla GM Screen. And here it is, the Valhalla GM Screen from Dogmight Games. I'm really bummed that the company went out of business. A lot of people lost their jobs, and a really good company is not making its really great products anymore. Here are my condition rings that I throw out there, some homemade magic effect markers that I created. And I put out some terrain. I usually have that on standby just in case I need it, but I'm not going to leave it on the table right now. And here's a miniature shelf, one of many accessories from Dogmight. They gave me that. And here's a pen holder and a GM deck. The pen holder I bought and this dice tower I bought, but the GM deck and the miniature shelf were provided for me by Dogmight. They match perfectly all my other accessories. Really dig that dice tower. You can see my review of this wonderful GM screen. I'll put the card up top. Keep a chalk marker handy to write on the acrylic pieces, and the sconce also provided for me by Dogmight Games. I really love this GM screen. The GM deck is designed to hold your tablet, in this case my iPad, dice, whatever other accessories you need to place there. And now I'm adding my acrylic initiative trackers. I really dig this setup. It looks great. Your players walk in, they know something cool is about to happen. And here's the beauty shot, ladies and gentlemen, the whole setup. I'll just give you a moment.
Well, there you go, adventurers. That's a tour of my D&D game night setup. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, please do me a favor, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment. Let's hear about your game night setup for D&D or whatever game you're into. Hey, thanks again for joining me, and please check out the video that's popping up on your screen right now, and I'll see you next time on Short Rest Studios.